Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. This is a regular board meeting of the San Benito School Board of Trustees. The time is 5:37, and I call this meeting to order. First and foremost, let me go ahead and begin with our roll call. And then I want to recognize this wonderful group that gave us an outstanding performance tonight. But we begin with roll call. Mr. Oscar Medrano.
Here.
Mr. Rudy Corona.
Present.
Dr. Ariel Cruz.
Present.
Mr. Orlando Lopez.
Present.
Mr. Mario Silva.
Present.
Ms. Teresa Cervellon.
Present.
Mr. Stephen Weller. And I am here. We have established a quorum. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to recognize Grupo Flamenco from the San Benito High School under the direction of Jorge Mascorro. Outstanding job, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and we really enjoyed the musical performance. Thank you. Next, item 1.2 and 1.3, Pledge of Allegiance to the United States and Texas flags and our invocation. Mr. Medrano.
Leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance is Adrian Alejandro Tabasco. Adrian Alejandro Tabasco is the son of Jose Tabasco and Diana Arispe. He is 9 years old and a fourth grader at Ed Downs Fine Arts Academy. His favorite subject is math because he loves to problem solve. Adrian is also involved in many extracurricular activities such as Honor Choir, Downs Digital Media, National Elementary Honor Society, and chess. His hobbies include building Legos, enjoying time with family, and watching anime. Leading us in the invocation, also from Ed Downs Fine Arts Academy, is Janae Denise De La Rosa. Janae is 10 years old and is the oldest of 3 children. Her parents are Joseph and Giovanna De La Rosa. She currently attends 5th grade at Ed Downs Fine Arts Academy. Her favorite subject is math, but she excels in all subjects. She is an A honor roll student who loves to take part in extracurricular activities. She's an excellent leader and is always the first to volunteer. She has participated in the Greyhound Chats, the District Spelling Bee, and is a member of the National Elementary Honor Society. Janae also participates in the Ed Downs dance team and is a member of the Highland Hustler 4-H. Her hobbies include cooking and drawing. Janae is an excellent sister and dreams about becoming a nurse one day. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
The invocation now.
Good evening, everyone. Please bow your heads and join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us all together and allowing us to meet in this room. We come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community and help all your people. We ask you this in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Please give Janae and Adrian a huge round of applause. We have a certificate for you if you all want to come over and take a picture with the school board. Will the parents of these fine students please stand up and be recognized at this time? And also, thank you, Principal Alan Laralde. Please stand up and be recognized. Thank you, sir.
Next item on the agenda, we have item 2.1, San Benito High School, the College Board's National Hispanic Recognition Program honorees. Ms. Cervellon?
Yes, sir. So with that, I will call Mr. Salinas forward as he will walk us through all those students that did such a great job.
Buenas noches. Good evening, President President Moreno, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Cervellon, and of course to our San Benito CISD District. Today we are recognizing some of our top students here at the high school with College Board's National Hispanic Recognition Program, which award academic honors to students who take eligible administrations of the PSAT and MSQT, the PSAT 10 exam, and the AP exam. So these are students that when they were in 10th grade and 11th grade took these exams and scored high. They also needed to score within the top 10% of that respective exam in the state. So we're talking about some of our top students competing with students across the state. So first we have recognized for College Board for Academic Honors, Ms. Daisy Esquivel. Ms. Esquivel is also part of the Lady Hounds basketball team. She has a game tonight, so we wish the Lady Hounds the best of luck. Up next, we have Mr. Gael Garza. For great scores in the PSAT and MSQ, we have Ms. Marisol Gutierrez. Up next, also for getting great scores in the PSAT, is Solani Hasso. Up next, for being recognized for her AP work that she submitted for art, we have Ms. Evan Parrish. And last but not least, also receiving great scores on her AP exams, we have Ms. Cassandra Cruz. Ms. Cruz is also currently our valedictorian of the class of 2023. At this time, we would like to ask all the parents and families of the students to please rise and get recognized. Los padres, por favor, si se pueden levantar para que sean reconocidos. Would you please? All right, students, once again, congratulations. as they continue to apply for these wonderful scholarships and these universities for our seniors. This is a great recognition that they're able to put in their resume, board members. And I will say this, thanks to you all's approval a couple of months ago, we tested more students on the PSAT and MSQT, which we're going to be getting more students get recognized next year. So thank you all so much for your support.
Next on the agenda, we have, I'm going to skip 3.1 for now. We'll come back to 3.1. We'll begin the evening with item 3.2, oath of office administered to our newly appointed board member.
So with that, we are going to ask Mr. Gomez to step forward and Judge Garza so that we can commence with the oath.
That's awesome.
Okay. Just spread them out. Good? We're good. Right here.
Mr. Gomez, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Frutoso Gomez,
I, Frutoso Gomez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
San Benito School District Trustee Number 7
San Benito School District Trustee Number 7
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
for the United States
for the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Does he know he's going to give a statement?
He asked me if we could move it.
You want him to sit here, or you want him to do it from out there?
I think down there is fine.
Hmm?
I would say down there, no, to do his statement, or it's up to him. Mr. Yes.
Next item on the agenda is item 3.1, statement of our appointed officer. Congratulations, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say a few words. I won't make it long, okay? I thought about doing an hour, but they said no. There's a lot of folks in this audience that I known for many, many years, and I thank you for being here. I appreciate, of course, the support of my wife that I always had for many, many years, since we were 16 years old in San Benito High School, when she was always walking behind me, trying to find me, trying to say, hey. No, I'm just kidding. That was the other way around. It was me that was always after her. Anyway, that's how long we've known each other. So that's great. Love you, honey. I want to say first of all, to Superintendent Servillon, President Moreno, fellow board members. First, I would like to thank our God for placing me where He believes I will be able to serve our students and our employees. To the San Benito School Board, I am sincerely grateful for giving me this opportunity to serve, and I will do my very best. I won't let you down. I am hopeful that together we can continue moving this school district forward. I know you guys have done a great job, and I want to be there to be part of that great job. To our students, you deserve the very best education that we can provide in order for you to be successful in your careers in the future. I'll make it short. With this, I am going to close. I ask God for all His wisdom so we can work together. And I will close by saying to all of us, all of you here, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. May God bless you. And I'm here to serve. Thank you.
Here you go, sir. Welcome. All right, next agenda item is item 3.3, reorganization of board officers. We will begin with the office of president. At this time, do I have any nominations?
I nominate Ramiro Moreno for president.
Okay, we have a nomination for Ramiro Moreno made by Oscar Medrano. Do I have any other nominations for the office of president?
Yes, I nominate Ariel Cruz, Dr. Ariel Cruz.
Okay, we have Dr. Ariel Cruz nominated for president. We have any more nominations? Okay, nominations will cease by a show of hands. Can we have a vote for Ramiro Moreno? Those in favor of Ramiro Moreno, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and those in favor of Ariel Cruz, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Ramiro Moreno remains as board president. Nominations for vice president. Do I have any nominations?
I nominate Mario Silva for vice president.
Okay, we have a nomination for Mario Silva as vice president. Do we have any more nominations?
Yes, I nominate Dr. Ariel Cruz for vice president.
Okay, any other nominations? Okay, we have 2 nominations, Mario Silva for vice president and Dr. Ariel Cruz. By a show of hands, those in favor of Mario Silva as vice president, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Was that a yay, Mr. Silva? Yes, sir. All right. Those in favor of Ariel Cruz, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Silva. You are now the San Benito Board of Trustees vice president. Moving on to the office of secretary. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Rudy Corona for secretary.
Okay, we have a nomination for Rudy Corona. I nominate Oscar Medrano as board secretary. Do we have any other nominations? Okay, we start off with Rudy Corona. Those in favor of Rudy Corona for board secretary, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay, those in favor of Oscar Medrano for board secretary, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mr. Medrano, you remain as our board secretary. Congratulations. Okay, there you have it, folks. The reorganization of board officers. Ramiro Moreno as board president, vice president Mario Silva, and secretary Mr. Oscar Medrano. Thank you. At this time, we move on to item 4.1. We're going to have a short break to reorganize Board of Trustees and also to have a small reception for our newly elected board trustee, Mr. Frutoso Gomez. So we'll return in just a few minutes. All righty, folks, the time is 6:08, and we will resume our regular board meeting. Moving on to item 5.1, public comment. The next item on the agenda is public comment, and before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comment. The public comment portion of our meeting is available to members of the public who wish to address any topic. Anyone who would like to speak during public comment must sign in prior to the start of the meeting and list the topic or topics they want to discuss. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board for each topic. If more than 10 speakers are signed up to speak on the same topic, all additional speakers on that item shall be limited to 2 minutes. However, any public testimony speaker who requires a translator will receive up to 6 minutes to address the board. Please keep your comments or criticisms civil and courteous. Please avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. Lastly, we ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own students. If a speaker is seeking board resolution of a specific complaint, that concern should be addressed through the district's grievance process. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy FNG is the avenue for filing parent complaints, and policy GF addresses community member complaints. Grievance forms may be obtained at any campus administration office or at the district's central administration offices. Thank you. Our first speaker tonight is Juanita Silva. Ms. Silva, welcome.
Good evening, each and every one of you, and welcome, sir, Mr. Gomez, welcome. Tonight I am here about certain concerns that several teachers have come to me and are upset. One of the first things that they're very upset about is the learning walks. I did read it in the paper, and I will read something in a few minutes after I finish with this one. These walks to the teachers are very, very stressful, very, very stressful to some of them. Learning walks are very uncomfortable for them. They feel intimidated by the presence of the 4 teachers, 3 teachers, administrators, and the main office directors. Some of these teachers have been here in the San Benito School District for more than 20 years. So they have more than 25 years of experience. But they feel pressured, and they feel it's a waste of time for them and the students. Not only are the teachers feeling that way, but so are the students. The students question the teachers as to why y'all are there, and they think that probably they're doing something wrong. They feel like you think they're not teaching correctly. These are the teachers. We're talking about teachers having given great ratings by their principals and other administration throughout the school district. To them, it's a waste of time, and they don't like it. After the walk, are the teachers given time to discuss with the group or not? Is this mandatory from TEA, Ms. Evion, or is it being done all over the state of Texas, or is it just San Benito? Is it the other school districts here in the valley that are doing this too? Please, they're saying, visit those teachers who are new to the district, those who really, really need the help in the classroom. And this is, and I'm quoting, at San Benito School, district and campuses administrations and classroom educators continue to learn and grow learner together. And this is a quote from you, Mrs. Servillon, Superintendent Servillon, I'm sorry. What they want to know, the teachers, are they going to be receiving resources to help them if they need any help? If you see anything wrong, have you found anything that they're doing wrong? They want to know. They do want help. They want individual help. And of course, they want to know if you will be hiring anyone to go to their classroom and have them fix the wrong. The next ones are the modules, B. At the beginning of the year, according to the teachers, I'm getting this from them, the teacher and staffs were promised a stipend for the modules on safety at school. This was done during school, after school, and during the weekends. Most teachers spend most of the family time working on these modules. Now, I've seen them and I've heard them, and I've been part of it. The modules are at least 40 to 45 minutes long. Instead of spending time with their families, the teachers and also the other employees, they work on these lengthy readings and only to be told that they will not get paid. They want to know why. Have you deceived these teachers? Have they been deceived? You promised this money to them, and they're very disappointed. Due to no funding, the stipend was not honored. You have to remember we spent $250,000 on an audit. That money we could have used for something else. Well, so much for this witch hunt. The stipend would have helped the teachers during this hard time on Thanksgiving and Christmas. The next thing I'm going to talk about are the custodians. These custodians, they're the most hardworking people that I know. We all work hard. I was a teacher, I should know. You know, you're a custodian, you're a superintendent, you're a principal. You guys work real, real hard. Each and every one of you have your own job. These employees work very hard and long hours. Not enough custodians are being hired to fill those vacancies in several schools. Custodians are doing double work because the district refuses to hire more custodians. Fred Booth, La Paloma, La Encantada, and these are just a few. These are just a few I know that are in desperate need to help. Principals see the problem and they turn a deaf ear and don't want to hear it. And sometimes they use their lead custodians to take care of the problem, but that's not where the problem is going to be solved. It needs to be resolved by the teachers, by the principals, and on the top level. When you go to their schools, every school you go to, what a beautiful sight you see. From morning to early in the morning, you go in, and if you look over here, see how beautiful this area is. These are the custodians. These are the guys who have put so much work into this to prepare for tonight. Well, can you imagine all the other schools, how they look? The floors are shining, the restrooms are clean. I believe these custodians are overworked and underpaid, and they need to be acknowledged, and they deserve some credit. D, perfect attendance for teachers. Teachers want to know if they will be receiving a stipend for the perfect attendance per semester, or will they be deceived again? It's up to you, board. They look forward to this money, and they deserve which was promised to them. Are you taking this away from them? No more deception. Shame on you. Shame on you. They do, however, thank you for the $500 they received. And I believe they are receiving $2,000 at the end of the semester, something like that. And that's really going to help them for their Christmas gifts and what have you. And they were just a little bit concerned about, and this is, you might be laughing at things that I say, and you think it's funny. It's not. But when the teachers didn't get their Thanksgiving turkey, they were very sad. Y'all don't realize that these teachers live with parents, and these parents live with teachers. COVID has destroyed so many of us and so many people. This is just a little something I threw in there. And then the $100 for school supplies. At the beginning, the teachers were promised $100 for school supplies, but instead, the majority of the board members gave it to the campus, the campuses. The principals took that money and added it to their budget. I thought that the campus had their own budget, and therefore the teachers had the right to use up their own money at their own convenience. I've worked for 45 years. I know there's a budget for every school campus. Mr. President, you and the majority had no trust in these teachers, and you belittled them in your own way. I remember you making reference on using the money for a dinner with a family or doing their nails at the salon. You made that smart remark that was noticed by them. So what if they did, sir? Mr. President, you're a middle school principal, and you should know how much a teacher spends and how many times they have come to you and asked for supplies. What is your reply? Don't you want to keep them happy so they can do well for you in your school? We all want to do well. As a middle school teacher of 45 years, I spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars per semester. Thank God for my husband who had a good job, and he allowed me to do what I wanted to do. Most of you on the board don't know how much money teachers make and what they spend on kids. Teachers buy pizza, awards, they reward the kids, they buy food of all sorts. I just went and bought some for the school where my daughter works. I went and bought some Doritos and cheese. And who's paying for that? The teachers are. They buy candies, they buy Christmas gifts, and so much more. And you majority are making a big deal of $100 when you use taxpayers' money, $250,000 on a used audit. And this is I'm going to read out. One ruler is what I heard the teachers tell me. One package of paper, one box of Crayolas, one glue, one pencil, one pen, one folder. This is what the kids got at the beginning of the year, ma'am. This is what they received. They go to the office, well, there's a lot of red tape for buying supplies. Always is, always has. I know that. We would go in, make a request in September, and we didn't get anything until December or even January. I am part of the Friends of the Library. So the Friends of the Library, Sam's, Walmart, Fire Department gave more supplies to the kids of San Benito than our district did. You promised the parents that they didn't have to buy anything. Well, you know what? They're not buying them.
Thank you, Ms.
Te-
Silva.
and
Your time
teachers-
is up.
My time is up?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, was this 2 minutes for letter E?
It was 3 minutes per topic, ma'am.
Okay.
As
thank
is
you so
written in the
much.
board policy.
Okay, thank you, and I hope you received the message.
Next person up is Ms. Mary Maney. Ms. Maney, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Moreno, Superintendent Sevion, board members. I just had a couple things for tonight. Tonight, welcome, Mr. Gomez. Hope to see good things coming out from you. And I hope everything works well with this thing. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll do my very best.
Don't worry, we'll remind you of it. Also, with regard to the DEC policy that is being advocated to change, thank you, especially for those members of our staff that cannot reach the 30-year mark, or they've come in with a good amount of time behind them, and adding another 30 years to it is a little unrealistic. People that I've talked to seem very encouraged by this, and it's like, okay, now I know that I can get a little extra if I retire here. So maybe I don't have to retire now and I can go a little longer. So we're stretching our teachers out just a little bit that way. And again, thank you for also making it at the daily rate and not the amount that's paid to a certified substitute, which is in one of the districts right around us. The other thing is, we also want to say thank you again for the stipend that is coming in tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday, tomorrow. And the most, people I've talked to, the most concern they've had over that is that they may not be able to get out here because they don't have planning during a time that would come, and they can't, our lunch is so short, by the time they get out of the parking lot and try to get here, they can't have any type of line to be back in class. So we have been encouraging all the people that don't think they're going to make sure their home of record is correct so they can actually get the check mailed to them. But again, thank you so very much on that. Would like to put it into your ear also to think about for the end of the year. There are some of our districts around here that are giving an additional stipend for having gone through the whole year, trying to encourage them to come back for the next year. Just try to put it in your ear a little bit now. I know the money's not really there, but we might find it soon, hopefully. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Maney. Have a good evening. Next up, we have Mr. Jesus Aguilera. Mr. Aguilera, welcome.
The dinner you guys had for the football players, all I got calls was great. I know a board member said he got calls to cancel the luncheon. But all the parents, they were there, very nice. And all of you stood in front and greeted the families. That's what they said that they enjoyed. And for you two board members that didn't show, shame on you. Okay, so very nice, very nice. And I gotta give it up for Coach Aldana. All I heard was he gave a great speech. So that was nice. Okay, my second topic, Frank Roberts, hostile environment. Just because you have a DR in front of your name doesn't mean you get away with things. And yes, you're being watched. Everybody knows what's going on. You already have 4 grievances on you. Shame on you. And remember, we come from El Jardín. Number 3. That person just said that you wasted $250,000 on an audit that was useless. Useless. How about the $50 million that is being spent on those 3 buildings? She was a part of it. You know that you already have a board member that wanted to take your place, sir. She wanted your place because she was upset that she listened to him and she wanted to expose him. So she wanted your seat to come and do it. $50 million, no parking lot, no landscaping, and no streets. And now we're going to have to pay Palacios $400,000 more to build what he's building. And he's building something that we don't know what he's going to build, because look at the auditorium or that indoor facility. It's already breaking down. Thanks to who? Right there. Come on. She wants to say $250,000 was not for the audit. $50 million. And here's the bad thing. We're going to have to pay $35 million in interest. He wouldn't do that to build a house. You wouldn't. I wouldn't. Borrow $40 million and pay $35 million in interest? No. So, you know, and he says, we didn't do anything illegal. But Carmen used up all his points or built his points for him, for his pocket. So those people that were here, and there's really only one left, that wanted that $40 million. And now it's gonna cost us 10 more million, plus the parking lot, plus the streets, and the landscaping. You know, and the teachers deserve whatever they need, okay? And we should try to give it to them. But it's like coaching. There's no money in coaching.
Mr.
There's no
Aguilera,
money in teaching either.
Your time is up, sir. Thank you. All right, we move on to item 6.1 on the agenda, Board President's remarks. I'm going to keep it very short tonight. Just once again, on behalf of the board and myself, I'd like to welcome Mr. Frutoso Gomez. Mr. Gomez, with your years of experience working with our community in the public sector, I know that you're going to do a tremendous job, and I know that we're all very proud to have you on the board. So we look forward to working with you, and once again, congratulations. To all our teachers, students, staff, administration, parents, and community, just want to take the time to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a phenomenal Happy New Year 2023. So we look forward to you guys enjoying your time off for your Christmas vacations. Enjoy, spend some time, quality time with your families, and we'll see you back in January. Next up, we have item 7. Sorry about that. Next, we have item 7.1, Superintendent's remarks. Mr. Rayon.
It's that time of the year again. December has come, and with it all the joys of Christmas. But what is the real meaning of Christmas? Is it the gifts under the tree? The lights in the windows? The cards in the mail? Turkey dinners with family and friends? Stockings hanging in the living room? And shouts of Merry Christmas while you're walking down the street? Is that really Christmas? We think that it's just a part of it. I think it's just a part of it. Embroiled in a definition of the true meaning of Christmas is really to give of one's very self, to think only of others, how to bring the greatest happiness to others. That is the true meaning of Christmas. So everybody in this room, all our employees at SBCISD, I know that we really know what Christmas means because we give selflessly every single day for all our students. We take care of them, we support them, we go above and beyond. Sometimes I get principals calling me at 8 in the evening. They're still there working, waiting, talking to parents, waiting with students. So with that being said, you exhibit true Christmas day in and day out. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you to all the staff that supports our principals and directors, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Rayon. Agenda item 8.1, External Audit Report. Mr. Rayon.
Yes, I'm going to have our Chief Financial Officer come forward, Ms. Mata. We are going to walk through our external audit report. We have a presentation for you tonight. We wanted to make sure that we came in during the holidays. We really didn't go in depth, and we want to assert that we know how we're shifting our system and ensuring we have processes that are going to maximize our taxpayer dollars. So with that being said, Ms. Mata, are you prepared?
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Moreno, Board of Trustees, Ms. Servillon. Tonight I'm going to present on the external audit report. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into what was presented back in November. So, hold on, let me make sure I did it right. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what is a financial external audit? So an audit is required, the audit must be completed following the close of each fiscal year. For us, it would be June 30th of each fiscal year, so this year was June 30th, 2022. The audit shall include an audit of the accuracy of the fiscal information that the district provides through PIMS to TEA. This is coded from the Education Code 44.008. The next slide, and I'm not going to read it like in the full, I'm just going to take little excerpts. The next one is from the, hold on.
So every year, it's a requirement. We have to have an external audit.
Yes.
As per TEA, an independent auditor that comes in and reviews all our financials. And so we want to assert that we understand that this is part of the administrative code. Next slide.
Okay. This next slide, they're going to be an excerpt from the 2021 audit that we received from TA on March 31st of 2022. This is in regards to the findings that the district got for the 2021 audit, and the auditors actually, in the 21-22 year, they go back and look at, did you all comply with what the findings were the prior year? And then based on that, then they do the findings for the 21-22, and then add on more findings if needed. So these are the 4 findings that were significant deficiencies, and I'm going to go more in depth into them throughout the slides. But just to show you that they were excerpts from the audit report, from a TA letter that we got.
So this letter was shared with the board back in April. If you could go back one more slide. And the 4 things that we were remediating, well, we have our district accounting, which had significant deficiencies in internal controls. Our bank reconciliations were months behind. And so that was something that also was brought forth. Our capital assets, which is something we've really shifted, and it's a process that we're going through. We do have a module on Skyward now where we're updating all of that. And if you can see here, it tells us that we were depreciating everything incorrectly. And then we have our maintenance of effort. You already know we send back over $700,000. Now we have a system in place where we are ensuring that we're maintaining effort when it comes to our federal funds.
I don't know how to work this, okay.
Are you clicking super fast? There you go.
I think so. Okay, so this again is the first audit finding for 2021, and it was for district accounting. And as you can see, for the current year, we did not meet compliance either, which is for the 21-22 school year. So the next slide is the actual finding from the 21-22 audit that says that we did not meet compliance on this issue either. District review and update. The recommendation is that the district review and update their policies and procedures over its monthly and year-end closing processes. The processes should be documented in such detail that all critical steps, the monthly and year-end closing process are outlined and assigned to specific individuals. So what we're doing, and I've already met with both my director of accounting and my accountant, and we're going to start reviewing on a monthly basis. First of all, review monthly and year-end closeout procedures that we have already in place. We need to create and review year-end checklist for the items such as revenue receivables, the CFA schedule, due to state amounts, payroll accruals, whether or not the reversals were done properly for prior year, the inventory balances, the cash accounts, taxes, fixed assets, long-term debt, and leases for GASB compliance, the state allotment spending, health insurance reconciliation, and clear out any negative cash balances. That I just read, that second bullet, those are all having to do with journal entries that the district did after we provided what's called an ASCII file, which is our financial data, to the auditors. So different entries were done, and that's why in 2021, we had 60-something entries, I believe. And then in 21-22, we had 70-something. So I did meet with Mr. Matthew from CRI. Like I said, Mr. Cortez, which is our director of accounting, and Ms. Arias, which is our accountant. We had a Zoom with him just to make sure that what I was presenting, that he agreed with, and that I wasn't, misquoting or misreading anything. and he said the acceptable amount of journal entries was about 20 to 25, so we had like 3 times that amount in 21, 22. So we are going to be working on that and making sure that when we're closing the months and everything, especially the year end, that we look at the entries that were done in 2021, 21, 22, and that we look at that and make sure that we do the entries before the asking is done. So that's one of those things that we're going to start doing. Again, the due to and due froms, that we issue the journal entries as needed in a timely manner. That we look at all the accounts payables and the prepaids, and that's at the end of the year as well. Ensure capital assets are being recorded accordingly, and business office staff currently reviews the bank statements for all bank accounts as well as investment accounts each month to ensure that the postings of all deposits and wire transfers are being done. And this helps with our bank reconciliations for all accounts that are to be reconciled by the 10th of the month and reviewed by the Director of Accounting by the 15th of the month. And I can tell you that as of today, all the bank reconciliations are up to November.
So what's important to note, as we had the external auditor come in, we had all these recommendations and findings from TEA. And so now, in order for us to have a clean audit, we have the business office going back and putting in these processes and then making the necessary adjustments in order to have the clean audit. So you'll see that those are some of the processes that have been put into place. Our bank reconciliations are now where they need to be. And I'm not going to say our capital assets are, because that will be a lengthy process. You'll see on one of the slides that we actually got dinged, I want to use the word dinged, by TEA 3 years in a row because we were not depreciating our capital assets correctly. So, but it takes a lot of work for it to happen.
So I have a quick question. Based on what I heard Ms. Mata mention earlier, based on the findings or the recommendations that they made at the end of this fiscal year, the auditors made a statement or brought to you all's attention that there were still some items from the previous external audit that were still pending, including the bank reconciliations that had not been up to date.
Okay.
Is that correct?
There are, in a slide later on, it's one for payroll. There are some accounts that have like negative balances, and we need to clear out, and they are being carried over from prior year. So we need to go in there and see why they're there, where do they belong, why were they not cleared, and so forth. So it'll be time consuming, and it's mainly under the payroll account.
Okay.
So that's where I have to look at it.
Ma'am, I got a question.
Thank you.
I got a question. So as far as, we get an external audit every year. Did you make a comparison, ma'am, to like the previous year to see if we're getting, more efficient in our processes and putting things into place compared to what we have now versus what we had prior?
That's currently what we're doing right now. We're
Okay.
barely comparing and seeing what journal entries were done in 2021, what were done in 21, 22, so we can see that are we improving in both areas, so we can know that, yes, we're trying to work on both areas and see that we deal with everything and that we minimize the number of journal entries. Because like I stated, Mr. Matthew stated that 20 to 25 journal entries is acceptable. Anything above that, it is
Right.
something that they, as a person, they think, they make a judgment on it.
Okay.
And so right now we're at 75, prior year was 64, I believe, or 62, one or the other. And so we want to minimize that because if not, if we keep it above 20 or 25, then in 22, 23,
Right.
we're going to get dinged again.
Right, so-
And we don't want to be going that route.
Correct. So I guess what I'm trying to say, is that a pattern? Has it been a consistent pattern for years? Or how does that, in your
I
opinion,
can
how
get
does?
back to you on that when I compare the journal entries.
Yes, please do.
And yes, I
Okay,
will.
thank you. I appreciate it.
There are some things that were rectified. There are some things that have consistently not been rectified, if that's the question. And that's what Ms. Mata has been and her team have been trying to clean up and ensure that we have in place all these procedures so that doesn't get away from us. I do know that there have been, like I said, capital asset was 3 years in a row. The accounting deficiencies were also 3 years in a row when we look at that. So continue.
So the next one is the bank reconciliations that was from 2021. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide, it says that this finding was resolved in the current year for 21-22. And so, like I stated, business office staff currently reviews the bank statement for all the accounts and, reconciled by the 10th of the month, and the accounting director reviews them by the 15th. We have 7 bank reconciliations. As you can see, they're all up to November 2022. So they are up to date. I checked them myself today, and so I just want to make sure that what I was presenting was accurate, and we are up to date on November 2022. And I've met with like I said, the director and the accountant to make sure that every month we do what we're saying, and that we're posting the entries that we need to make sure that that if we don't post something, that would be considered a journal entry. So we're trying to minimize that.
So when the auditors were working with our bank reconciliations, they hadn't been reconciled since March 21. It's annotated on the report. So that's when we decided to create that timeline to ensure that we did reconcile the accounts.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the next slide is,
It's really shifted. Your slides have shifted on here.
oh, mine are correct, I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So the next one is a finding for 2021, which is the maintenance of effort, which again was resolved in 21-22. And this is one of the presentations that I did when I first started on the maintenance of effort. So we know that we are working on it. We were compliant for 21-22. I'm sorry. We were compliant for 21-22. We know that the reason that we were not compliant was because there was a mass reclassification of salaries to ESSER funds that was done in 2021, which was not done in 21-22, and we will not do it again. Like I stated, I did do the comparison for 21-22 when I presented it last time. We did meet MOE, or we are supposed to meet MOE once TA sends out the letter, and for 22-23, based on the budget, we are supposed to meet it. In January or February, I will run budget versus expenditures just to make sure if we're in the right track to meet compliance. So any questions on the maintenance of effort? Okay, so this question, this is one of the new findings. So the first 4 that I just talked about were from the 2021. And from the 4, only the first one we did not resolve for 21-22, which was a district accounting. This one, for the 21-22 audit, we got 2 findings. One is a district accounting. This is the second one, which is a comparability of services requirement. This is required for Title I grant. It was noted that the comparability computation form was not reviewed or approved before submitting. The recommendation is that management and finance personnel should review financial records of actual expenditures throughout the year to ensure comparability requirements are met. In addition, adoption of budgets should consider comparability requirements to ensure amounts expended
Ms. Mata, are you on the right slide, or?
Sorry. Oh,
Yes,
right there.
it said it shifted.
I think I went back. There's a comparability.
It went to a different one now. No? No, that is right. It is right.
Yeah.
You're not talking about the comparability report?
Yes, this one.
Okay.
Comparability.
Did you go back to show the Excel file that I wanted you to show them, or are you going to do that later?
No, I didn't go back. So, and I didn't send it to Sergio. I can't show it to them.
So basically, what's happening now is we have an Excel file where we are looking at the expenditures, our federal expenditures, to ensure that we do maintain effort, so it is constantly being monitored. So Ms. Mata can tell me to the dollar where we are, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now go on comparability report? Is that where you are?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So this one is, the recommendation is that management and finance personnel should review financial records of actual expenditures throughout the year to ensure comparability requirements are met. In addition, adoption of budgets should consider comparability requirements to ensure amounts expected to be spent in the current year meet comparability requirements under ESSA. So this one, like I stated, this is a Title I requirement for the grant, and because for the audit, Title I was selected for one of our single audit grants. What we did this year, in 2021, my understanding is that the previous Assistant Superintendent of Finance worked on the report, and unfortunately, we weren't able to find any documentation to back it up, so when the auditors asked for it, We didn't have anything, so I did send the reports that we, ran after the fact, but we couldn't match to the report, hence the finding.
Can you explain what a comparability report is?
So the comparability report it's a listing of your elementary, middle school, and high school campuses. And then you have to compare the number of student enrollment, and then the number that's budgeted, the number of teacher full-time, or the number of staff that you have, the FTEs, and then they have a calculation. It's a template that TA provides, and then they tell you whether, yes, you meet a test. It's different, 3 different tests, and you have to meet one test at least, but every campus has to meet it. So it has to say yes to everything. If you have like one test, and then all 3 tests at one campus or 2 somewhere, have a no, that means you're not comparable. And that means that you're either overfunding or underfunding a campus. So.
And how do you fund a campus?
I'm sorry?
And how do you fund a campus based on?
Based on your student, either your FTEs that you get funded, or that we get funding from TA, or based on the.
Low socioeconomic
Yes.
percentage per
Depending
campus.
on what the grant is.
And at risk.
Yes.
So
Whatever
that's the way the money should be doled out to each campus.
When this is graded by the external audit, is it an all or nothing category?
On this one, yes, it's
Okay.
either, and actually, when we had the exit interview with Ms. Servillon and the auditor, with Matthew, he did mention to us that had we not been compliant, that TA could have withheld our grant funding till we became compliant. But because this is after the fact, it was a finding, but we don't know if TA is going to tell us something or not, because I actually just submitted this, like I said, on the thing, on the slide. I did work with the federal programs director, which is Mr. Perez, and we reviewed the reports. He has a copy of the reports. I have a copy. I already showed my director of accounting and my accounting where they're at, and we have it, saved. And both Mr. Perez and myself signed off on the report. I scanned it to him, scanned it to myself, and showed them where it is. And that way, the people, and that's what what Matthew recommended, that 2 people sign off on the report, make sure that we're both in agreement that yes, the numbers are correct, and yes, we're in compliance. So that has been sent in. It was due November 18th to TA.
So like last year when this was presented to us and then we got the letter in March, that's about the time delay. In March, we'll
Yeah.
receive the response from TEA.
Yeah, normally, like for the 21-22, TA will probably send out a letter in March or April, give or take. Okay, so these are at the end of the audit. If you want to go back to your audit book that you received, these are at the end. The first these two that you see are the significant deficiencies, which is the district accounting, and then the comparability service requirement that I just spoke about. And this is just to show you. I'm going to go over the next ones that they are deficiencies. As you can see, it's a control deficiency, so it's not as significant, but they want us to look at it. And these are the different things that we have to look at. So number 3 is the payroll deductions and accrued wages payable. And they recommend that the district should implement procedures to review each payroll deduction and accrued wage liability accounts to ensure amounts are being properly reported within each individual fund. So we are going to review all liability accounts to clear balances from prior year. Review all liability accounts to ensure they are cleared at the end of each month by accountant and payroll coordinator. Review accrued wages to ensure that the current amounts were reversed. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I go back or no? Yeah, you were right. Okay, sorry. Review accrued wages to ensure that the correct amounts were reversed to correct funds. Issue necessary JEs to clear the amounts above if needed. And at the end of the year, run reports to compare 2161, which is accrued wages, to ensure report and ledger balance prior to finalizing ASCII. So the reason that the last bullets are there is like this year, when we were asked about our accrued wages, the report we ran and the ledger did not balance. So when I went back to look at it, the July and August, when it was reversed, the wrong amounts were reversed. So I had to do a journal entry. But again, it was after we gave the auditors the ASCII file. So that was a journal entry. But that type of thing, so I'm actually, like I said, met with my director of accounting and accountant, and we're going to go back now to see was July and August cleared correctly. Because if it is, then everything else should clear. and then at the end of June, when we accrue, or July or August, when we accrue to June, the report should match if July and August was cleared correctly. So, and again, on the liability accounts, this is where you were asking, Mr. Moreno, that there are some balances from prior year that Matthew mentioned that I have to go back and look at and see, where are we and so forth, because payroll accounts are in and out accounts. Whatever we deduct for a voluntary insurance or something, we pay it back out to whoever the vendor might be. So, or the taxes we take, we pay the IRS and so forth. So clearing, these are in essence clearing accounts, so in and out. So they should at the end be zero. So the next one is cash investments. So we have money in the bank. First Community Bank is our bank, and we have to ensure that the bank collateralizes the money that we have in the bank. So if you notice, for September, December of 2021, and April and June of 2022, the money that the bank collateralized was not sufficient. So we could have been, if something happened, the bank failed or something, we could have been exposed because it wasn't collateralized to the full amount needed. So the recommendation is that we review monthly reports, and First Community Bank does send us monthly reports, but in essence, this is after the month. So Mr. Cortez actually just finished coordinating with First Community Bank, and they had a meeting actually this afternoon, him and Indira, which is my accountant, and they will be accessing the bank on a daily basis to download and review the collateralized amount and compare it to whatever amount we have and ensure that is being met on a daily basis. So that's new, something new that we're implementing starting probably tomorrow. So that's something new, and hopefully we address this issue. The next one is the authorization of disbursements. During the scope of the audit, they found that there was one check that did not get board approval, that they needed board approval, and that was, again, back to the forensic audit. The check that was issued for the $100 stipends is actually what this was. And they felt that that should have gone to the board for board approval because it was a large amount. So, and we know that this one, we gave it through PO, so this was not done. But again, just to let you know that all the requisitions have an approval path. They go through several employees, depending on what department or campus, some go through 4 or 5 approvals, some go through 8, some go through 10. It just depends on, the path you're at and so forth. But we all look at the vendor, the amount, the account number to make sure for allowability, especially if it's for a grant from a federal fund. And again, the director of accounting goes through the POs before they get paid to make sure on the amount that's getting paid to the vendor. So. Okay. On the budget, it says, while rolling forward the adopted budget to the district's final budget, CRA noted differences between the amended budget and final budget. They recommend that the district should implement procedures to review all budget amendments and ensure budgeted amounts are being appropriately calculated and reflected in the final budget approved by those charged with governance. So on this one, what happened was actually we bring the budget amendments to the board. We get approval from from the board, and then my accounting specialist goes in there the day after or 2 days after and submits it to get approved through Skyward. And she uses the BA for budget amendment and then the month and the day. And that way we know when we're asked by the auditors, let me see all your budget amendments, we pull anything with a BA. Last year, there was one grant, which is the Elon Musk Fund, that you all approved. It was brought to the board, but it wasn't coded with a BA. It was named something different. So when they were asked for the budget amendments, that was not pulled. So that caused for there to be a difference. So in this, we're going to make sure that we do BA, month, and then day. Make sure that, and we're actually going to have a folder and put them in there, and that way at the end we have everything accessible. Okay, the next one is investments. This is, although investment accounts are being reconciled, there is no formal review and approval documented over this reconciliation being performed by anyone other than the person preparing the reconciliation. They recommend that the district should implement procedures to formally review and approve all investment reconciliations to ensure investments are being presented accurately and completely. And like I said, I did meet with my Director of Accounting and my accountant, and they will be, the Director of Accounting will review and sign all bank reconciliations for investment accounts, just in the same manner that all other bank reconciliations are being reviewed. Oh, I thought there was another one. Oh, that's it.
No, that's
I'm
it.
sorry, that's it. Any questions?
Board members, any questions? Ms. Mata, thank you so much
Thank you.
for the presentation.
So I do want to commend the business office for all their hard work and effort. Again, I'm going to use the word, it's been a lift, a heavy lift for them as we restructure our systems and there's no such thing as try, right? Just do. As we will make sure that we can account for every taxpayer dollar.
Thank you, Ms. Cervellon. We move on to items 9.1 and 9.2, consent agenda items. 9.1, request approval of Region 1 Educational Service Center Library Services Agreement for the 22-23 school year. Questions? Consent. Item 9.2, request approval of the proposal for grant writing services for the after-school program. Questions? Consent. Under consent agenda items for finance, item 10.1, request approval to accept gifts and bequests for the 22-23 school year. Questions? Consent. Item 10.2, request approval of budget amendments for the 22-23 school year. Questions? Consent. Item 10.3, request approval of cash account report. Questions? Consent. Item 10.4, request approval of comparison of revenue and expenditures to budget. Questions? Consent. Item 10.5, request approval of tax collection. Questions? Consent. Item 10.6, request approval of check disbursements. Questions? Consent. Item 10.7, request approval of option to extend the proposals on RFP 1220, General Supplies and Services district-wide for an additional one-year period. Questions? Consent. Item 10.8, request approval of option to extend the proposals on RFP 1220, Meals and Catering Services district-wide for an additional one-year period. Questions? Consent. Item 10.9, request approval of option to extend proposals on RFP 1220, Professional Consultant Services district-wide for an additional one-year period. Questions? Consent. Item 10.10, request approval of lease agreement for district-wide copiers. Questions? Consent. Item 10.11, request approval of interim payroll coordinator to access First Community Bank account. Questions? Consent. Under administration, item 11.1, request approval of revisions to the 2022-2023 compensation plan. Questions? Consent. Item 11.2, request approval of revisions to board policy DEC local. Questions? Consent. Item 11.3, request approval of board minutes. Questions? Consent. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve all consent agenda items 9.1 through 9.2, 10.1 through 10.11, 11.1 to 11.3.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Orlando Lopez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Under action agenda, item 12.1, discussion, consideration, and possible approval regarding purchases over $25,000. Ms. Cervellon.
Yes, I recommend the board approve purchases over $25,000 as presented.
Board members, are there any questions on purchases over $25,000? Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Oscar Medrano, second
Second.
by Mario Silva. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Item 12.2, discussion, consideration, and possible approval regarding class size exemption request for the 22-23 school year. Ms. Cervellon.
Yes, I also recommend to the board that we approve the class size exemption request for 22-23 as presented.
Board members, are there any questions?
Do you know the average or the maximum class size that we have in these exemptions that are being requested?
I can tell you that we reviewed them, and what has happened is we have opened up positions for teachers. Principals have not been able to find a teacher, so they've decided to keep them in that classroom because they know that that is a certified teacher instead of putting them in another classroom with, per se, a substitute. That's one thing that we have encountered, so that's about 7 slots right there. Also, in 2020-21, TEA pushed forward a requirement that pre-K be 22-1. The district did not adhere that requirement, so that was a 25-1 ratio that we were staffing with for pre-K. We're trying to make the shift now, so that's why you will see pre-K on there as well. And that is, again, a requirement since 2021 school year, 2020-21 school year.
Okay, but my question was regarding a max class size, like the max students in.
Well, it depends on, in elementary or in middle or high.
Or do we have one teacher for 30 kids? Is that what we're looking
You
at?
could in high school.
Okay.
But those are, remember, those are staffed at 25, in between 25 to 30. That's a recommendation for the staffing formula. If you're talking about elementary, no,
So elementary, we don't have any class sizes that are at 30.
no.
Do you know what the max class size would be at one of the elementaries?
I don't know exactly, but I can get the information to you. I think the last time I saw it, it was 25.
Okay, just wanted to know.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the class size exemption for the 22-23 school year?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Oscar Medrano. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Gomez. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Item 12.3, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of RFP 1222, Agent of Record for Employee Health Products. Ms. Cervellon.
Sorry, in your packet, you do have the final ratings for the agent of record. And they're ranked from 1 to 5. The recommendation based on that score sheet is with Bob Trevino Insurance. They were ranked number 1.
Are there any questions?
I do know that this is something that I mentioned to Ms. Cervellon yesterday. When we got, this was the first time that this year when we ranked them, there was a hub certification category, and if Mr. Cavazos, is he here?
He's back there.
Or if somebody can explain what that hub certification is and why it was a requirement on the scoring sheet.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you repeat the question, Dr. Cruz?
One of the categories for the scoring sheet was the hub certification. One of the categories on the scoring sheet was the hub certification.
The scoring sheet?
It was, I'm trying to look for the,
Summary of the scoring sheet?
Yes, sir. She's stating that one of the criteria on the scoring sheet on the evaluation form was number 7, referring to the hub certification form. So I believe her question is where that came from, or where.
like, what kind of value does that bring to the?
What kind of value does that bring to the agent of record? It's item number 7, correct, Dr. Cruz?
Oh, the hub certification. A hub certification is like historically underutilized.
You want to get on the mic, sir,
You want-
please?
yeah.
It's a historically underutilized business. They're registered with the state. So if the company or the person is a hub certified, you go in there and they check their hub certification. They should turn in a certificate. If they're not hub certified, they're not hub certified. You give them a 0. If they are, you give them the full points. It's just that they're registered by the state.
All right, any further questions? Okay, the recommendation by Ms. Cervellon, based on the scoring sheet, is to recommend Mr. Bob Trevino for agent of record for employee health products. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Mario Silva, a second by Mr. Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those opposed, raise your right hand. Okay, motion carries 5-2. Item 12.4, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the Performing Arts Center and natatorium projects, including but not limited to civil site work related to those projects, contract matters, proposed change orders pertaining to the projects, and if necessary, the provision of authority to the superintendent related to same. At this time, I'm going to move that we move this agenda item into closed session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by myself and a second by Oscar Medrano to move this agenda item into closed session. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, item 13, closed meeting. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Open Meetings Act, the board may move into closed session for the following reasons. Section 551.071, for the purpose of a private consultation with the board's attorney on any or all subjects or matters authorized by law. Section 551.074, for the purpose of considering the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear complaints or charges against a public officer or employee, and Section 551.082, certain school board deliberations. The time is 7:09, and we go into executive session. Welcome back. The time is 8:32, and we reconvene into open session. Item 14.1. We need to go back to item 12.4 that we took into executive session. Action regarding Performing Arts Center and natatorium projects, including but not limited to civil site work related to those projects, contract matters, proposed change orders pertaining to those projects, and if necessary, the provision of authority to the superintendent related to the same. So with that said, at this point, I'm going to move that we take action on these items as discussed in executive session. Do I have a second?
So move.
Okay. Second by Orlando Lopez. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, there were no employments, resignations, retirements, and terminations to be discussed. So with that said, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Oscar Medrano, second by Frutoso Gomez. All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, for those of you that are still here, Merry Christmas.